Hello everyone, my name is June Aculyador, and in my presentation, we'll leave the lead on everything you need to know about typography. Then I'll address the benefits of good typography and the impact it can have on your users. Finally, we'll look into different elements that comprise typography and what they all mean. It involves font style, appearance, and structure, which aims to elicit certain emotions and convey specific messages. In short, typography is what brings the text to life. The first example of typography can be seen in Gutenberg Bible, which kickstarted a typography revolution in the West. With the advent of internet came a creative explosion of typography. Suddenly, there is an abundance of fonts and type options, making typography more diverse. Typography is so much more than just choosing beautiful fonts. It's a vital component of user interface design. Unique, consistent typography will help you establish a strong user following, build trust with your users, and help to carry out your brand forward. Typography has a profound effect on the way that users digest and perceive the information conveyed by the text. Eye-catching type is much more persuasive than a weak font that don't reinforce the message of the text. Good typography could be the difference between someone staying on your website for 1 minute or half an hour. It is important that your website is visually stimulating and memorable, and typography plays a huge role in this process. To get started in typography, you need to know the 8 essential typographical design of elements. There's some confusion surrounding the difference between typefaces and fonts, with many treating the two as synonymous. Put simply, a typeface is a family of related fonts, while fonts refer to the weights, widths, and styles that constitute a typeface. Here's an example. Visual examples of serif, sans serif, and decorative. Serif typefaces are identified by the extra marks at the end of letters. The addition of these small strokes and elements gives serif fonts an air of tradition, history, authority, and integrity. It's no surprise then that you'll see this classic style used for newspaper titles or for the font used in books. Sans serif typefaces are defined by what they lack. Without the serif's more traditional strokes and dashes, the sans serif font family is seen as much more modern and bold. It's clear to read and when used in headlines, grabs your attention more than serifs. Popular sans serif fonts include Helvetica and Arial, the default font when you start writing in a Google Doc. The function of decorative typeface is aesthetic more than readable. As a result, you will likely to see this used in brand names, logos, and short titles. Decorative typefaces allows the user to show off even more personality, feeling, and uniqueness with their font choice. To keep the interface uncluttered and streamlined, a good designer will never use more than 3 fonts and keep decorative fonts to a minimum. Much like hierarchy, contrast helps to convey which ideas or messages you want to emphasize to your readers. To be consistent, avoid using too many fonts. Poor kerning or letter spacing, low contrast between texts and background, overusing decorative fonts, and ignoring alignment and hierarchy. Often referred to as negative space, white space is the space around text or graphics. White space ensures the interface is uncluttered and the text is readable. Alignment is the process of unifying and composing text, graphics, and images to ensure equal space, size, and distance between each element. Many UI designers create margins to ensure that their logo, header, and body of text are aligned with each other. Typographical hierarchy aims to distinguish between prominent pieces of copy that should be noticed and read first and standard text copy. The most typical example of a typographical hierarchy is size. Headings should always be larger than subheadings and standard text. With so many different fonts and typefaces to select from, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. Making the right choice depends on so much more than just seeing what looks nice. Here are a few key considerations. It's imperative that the typography reflects the personality of the brand or product. A good starting point when faced with this challenge is to define the core traits of your brand and start to gather typefaces that reflect these traits. If you want to convey serious or important information, choose a less stylized or decorative font that is clearly legible and will limit distraction. When deciding what typefaces to include in your interface, set the style, aesthetic, and voice aside and reflect on whether the font is legible, readable, and accessible. If you're not sure where to start, take some time to see what other people are doing. Open your eyes to the typography that you see around you. By gathering useful feedback from real users, you'll get a clearer insight into what works, what doesn't, what is legible, and what feels counterintuitive or clunky. With that, I end my report. Thank you so much. I hope you learned something from the lesson about typography. Until the next time.